Hey everyone, it's Kat.
And Amber.
And we are
Wandering Soup, Black Lesbian Expats.
And we are tied.
In Merida.
But we tied. We flew, flapping, all the way from Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam to Merida, Mexico. And we are here. And so what we're going to talk about in this video is about the flight. And hopefully give you some insight if you are planning on traveling during these COVID times. That will help you to make it a better experience.
Yeah.
Because I know people saying, why are you even traveling? We had to. I mean, it's just that simple. Our visas were up and it was time to go.
Right.
So here we are.
And this is our new home base, basically. Right. So we had to get here, and 15 hours was how we had to do it.
Well, actually more than that.
Well, more than that.
But we'll talk about it. Yeah. All right. So we left Ho Chi Minh City on Thursday. Our first flight was out at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So it means we got there about 5:30. Which means we got about 4. So that started our process. We get to the airport. There's barely anybody there. And we go check in our luggage. And surprise, they said there's a problem. We were scared.
Yeah, they pulled us to the side, y'all. We was like, hold up.
We thought we was going to be on one of them custom shows that we watch. Where they check everything until you know you can't fly.
And you put the drug smelling dog on you.
Son, we didn't know what was up. So it turns out it was our visas. So we hadn't extended our visas. Our visas expired in September, but there was clemency given, we assumed, and that was what was reported, to people who couldn't leave the country. And then it had been extended every month. And the last day that we knew it was going to be valid for was October 30th, and we were leaving on the 29th. So we didn't extend our visa an additional month. We just wrote it out, thinking that we were good to go.
Yep.
And maybe we weren't, but in the end, they let us through. Took about 5 minutes. Somebody took our passports, whispered on the side, and then they let us out.
Right.
So
we didn't get charged anything,
right.
Anything like that.
So if you are coming and you haven't renewed your visa, you haven't paid anything in like say 2 or 3 months,
right, you
may have a problem. But I think because we were only a month, we were good to go. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, we really don't know what the issue was clearly because no one really explained it to us. They just kind of whispered amongst themselves and let us stand there and freak out. But it turned out to be all good. So it never hurts to check
before you get on that flight to make sure that your visa is going to be good and you aren't going to get stopped at the airport. This is for anybody who's leaving Vietnam.
Right.
All right, so we get on a plane. It's masked up the entire flight. They did temperature checks before we got on the plane. They did safety, spacing everybody to line up to get on the plane. They did zone loading and very strict. Typically in Southeast Asia, people just bombard the gate. And I've gotten used to that, and I'm actually pretty good at it myself. But in this instance, they actually zone 1, zone 2. We were in zone 6, but the flight wasn't full, and we were actually flying into Tokyo. So we had a quick flight to Tokyo. I guess it was like 5 hours.
Yeah,
5 hours. Did we get a snack on that flight?
We did. They gave us a snack.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty cool. Wasn't busy. I mean, it wasn't packed. So we spread out a little bit. I moved into a different row. Seats were small, but that's typical of Southeast Asian airlines. And I think we were on Vietnam Air.
Yes.
Yeah, Vietnam Airlines and Vietnam Air, whichever one it is. So anyway.
But there was hardly anybody on it.
Right.
So we just got lucky. We all had room.
Right.
Space between us, basically.
Yeah. So there were probably about 40, 50 people on that flight, I think.
Yeah.
So we get to Tokyo. There's about an hour and a half, 2 hour layover there. The terminal was pretty much empty. Nothing was open. I think they may have had a coffee shop open.
Yeah, we saw one cafe. We saw one. We walked around. We saw one cafe. There was like a pharmacy, open. But that was about it.
Yeah. So, if you were looking to get snacks or to get something to eat, it wasn't going to happen there.
Yeah.
And we were actually looking to get something to eat. I don't know. We had bought some snacks to go on the flight, but I hate having too much. And in this instance, I think we had too little. Mainly because we had a 15-hour flight ahead of us. We got loaded up from Tokyo to go to Toronto. Now, before we got on the flight, there was a snag there as well. And this one was explained to us. The lady asked us, what was our return? When were we coming back from Mexico? And I think she thought we were maybe coming back to Japan, which we were not, or maybe back to Ho Chi Minh City, which we were not. And we were like, no, we're going to be there for over 30 days. So that was quick, 2-second snag.
Right.
Again,
because we were one way.
Right.
So they're going to question, what are you doing? Where are you going from there?
Right. And they should. That's what they're supposed to do. Because if we get returned or stopped coming into Mexico or even in Toronto, then the airline is responsible. The airline that brought you in is responsible getting you back. So they don't want to incur that cost. So they ask those questions. So we were good. So we were on Air Canada, if you didn't know, for this entire flight. And the Vietnam Airlines was part of that Air Canada ticket that we purchased. So we arrived. We're in Tokyo, and we're leaving to go to Toronto. It's a 15-hour flight. There are about 50 people, maybe 60 on this entire flight. And this was easily one of those 300-seaters or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Airbus.
Yeah, an Airbus. So we had plenty of room. And I ended up with a 3-seater by myself. I went to sleep. I stretched out. It was actually a good ride. I really can't complain about it. It was 15 hours. It was long. Don't get me wrong. And I probably slept 2 or 3 of it at least. And the rest of the time I read. Amber.
I watched like 10 movies. Legit.
4 or 5.
If you got y'all want some movie reviews, ask me because I got it.
Right. So Amber did the movies. I read. This is some podcasts I had downloaded. The boy did what he does. The same thing he would have done in the room. Play some games, pretend he's online. I don't know what he was doing. He slept a lot too.
He did.
So, the only complaint, Air Canada, if you're watching this, is the food sucked. I mean, we were a captive audience. And I understand that it's a pandemic. But still, 15 hours of cold food. Yeah. Every meal they gave us was freezer. Straight out of an icebox. We started out with a cold pasta salad. Yeah. Which I was like, oh, okay, all right. Now, we hadn't eaten anything at all today. So this was our first meal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we were like, except for that snack on...
Oh, right, the snack. Mm-hmm.
Right, which was a snack. So
and they gave us snacks on Air Canada. They gave us some really good pretzels. Shout out.
I didn't eat them.
Yeah, pretzels.
The second meal was a sandwich?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had
some kind of cold sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, it was so cold that I actually let it sit and thawed. It was like a ham and cheese sandwich, and Amber didn't eat that anyway. So,
I didn't eat it.
And then it was another meal. There was like another snack.
Yeah.
That was ice cold as well.
I didn't eat
Oh, it was a croissant.
Oh, okay, I did. It was stuffed. It had something in it.
Right.
I just pulled the croissant.
Stuffing out and just ate the bread. But it was, again, cold. And then...
the coffee was okay.
Yeah, but they say you're not supposed to drink the coffee, but we did because, golly, everything we ate was cold.
Desperate.
I feel desperate. So there we be, 15 hours of cold meals. They were sanitation everywhere was on point. Mask up.
They constantly gave us wet wipes.
Yeah,
constantly being fed.
Right.
Wet wipes.
And they kept reminding people, you're eating, but once you finish eating, mask back on. Mm-hmm. So you just couldn't just sit there without a mask unless you were ingesting something.
Right, like our son got told
a couple times.
Yeah, they walked by and they were like, I was like, okay.
Right. He kept putting it below his nose, and they were like, nah, son, not today. Not on Air Canada. And we got it. Yeah. But I had told him before we got on the plane, they're going to be on you. And he 12.
Right.
He think he know everything. I think he got a little feelings hurt a couple times. So, that was it. Air Canada was great. We had no problem with Air Canada. No Canada. So we get, Air Canada. So we get to Toronto, and we land, we clear customs. Customs there was pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty, there's nobody on the flight.
Right.
Had a snag up with our luggage. We thought it was going to be stopped in Toronto and we were going to recheck it, but they told us no. It was actually going all the way through to Cancun. So had our little carry-ons,
Right.
got on a little train to our hotel, which was the Alt Hotel. Sister girl at the front desk was amazeballs. Is that really a word?
It is, but y'all, we got out of the train that took us from the airport to the hotel. And when I tell you, the Hawk hit.
It just flew in and bit. Cold.
Be prepared. If you are leaving from a hot location and going to a cold destination, make sure you bring something with you because the boy, his legs was, he was. I felt for him.
He says he be hot on the plane today. Hawk hit him. When we got off that plane, he was like, "Oh, it's cold out here." So, because we had to walk a little bit to get to the Alt Hotel. It was great being in cold weather. We have not experienced cold weather in a year and a half. So it was like, whoa, it probably wasn't even that cold.
It was cold
to everybody else there.
Well,
except for them two brothers that had on them parkas and them Timbs, man. We felt very underdressed. But we get to the hotel. Hotel's great. If you gotta stay in a hotel and you gotta be at the airport in Toronto, Alt Hotel is fine. Front desk lady was great. Gave us some great tips, food selection.
Yeah.
We crashed. So our next flight out the next morning was 8.
Yeah. We left at like 6.
Yeah. We had to do check-in and everything like that. So fortunately we got there early because they had food. They actually had restaurants open in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So we all got a hot sandwich before we got on the flight. Oh,
it was so good.
It was so good. Because that was really the last good meal we had. Mm-hmm. Until we reached Merida at 7, 8 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
Because on the flight from Toronto to Cancun, they gave us some pretzels.
Right.
And that was it. And a bottle of water and a soda. Air Canada, y'all gotta do better with this food. So, I ain't trying to be
they ain't gonna let you starve, but they ain't gonna.
I was hungry.
You are gonna be hungry though.
Yeah. I know I could miss a meal and be okay, but my stomach ain't gonna be happy, and I wasn't happy. So we flew. That was about a 4-hour flight.
Almost 5 maybe.
Yeah, we got to Cancun around noon, a little before noon, maybe a little after noon, one of those. Customs, it was packed. Oh, the flight to Cancun was packed. Every seat.
Yes.
Folks
was ready. They was vacation ready. Everybody on that flight. We felt a little, overwhelmed. We ain't ready.
Right. They was ready to pause.
Lit.
They was ready to too. And I get it. Living in Toronto, it's a little cold. I can see it. They was ready. They had on their parkas, but they had a little t-shirt up under. They was ready. Maybe the bathing suit was on. I don't know. So we get to Cancun, and it was quick in the sense that since it was packed, every flight coming in Snooki was packed. And customs, there was a line.
Yeah.
But I've been in worse customs lines. So they were quick. They was if you had the form filled out and signed, you had no problems. I'm sorry, they gave you a form on the flight to fill out.
Yes.
If you filled that out, then life was grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stood in line maybe 15 minutes, if even that in customs, and it wasn't even bad. Because it was good people watching time. See who's on vacation,
everybody
who looked tired, like us, and stuff like that. We saw one group of ladies, they was ready to party, baby. They had on their matching t-shirts and they pink biker shorts, baby. They brought biker shorts back from the 80s. I was having a moment.
I was jealous. I was like, where my girls trip?
Right. Shout out to those ladies. If you see this video, we saw you representing. So anyway, we get out. Next up, this is a real important part, I think. We were going to go from Cancun to Merida. Mm-hmm. And to do that, we took the bus. And we took the ADO.
The ADO.
ADO. I just say each letter, but ADO bus. There's an audio counter in the terminal. Now, the funny thing about this airport for us is we didn't see anything else but like car rentals, people picking you up, taxis.
And you can buy all the alcohol you want when you first get off the plane. But other than that,
there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So usually when we land at an airport, Amber gets a SIM card for our cell phones. And we go to the ATM. There was not an ATM machine that we saw, and there was not a SIM card store that we saw. So that was a little unnerving, right? Because we get to the counter, we buy our bus ticket, and we'll get into the cost of that. As soon as we get there, the lady's like, come on, because there's a bus ready to go. So we paid, I wrote the number down, $437 each. That's 437 pesos. And that was
$20.
And then we paid an additional 94 pesos to get from, so it's 2 rides. You get one bus from the Cancun airport to the Cancun bus station, the Audio bus station. So they have a bus that picks you up there, takes you to the big bus station. And then there you have an additional fee to get you to Merida.
Right.
So we jumped. She took us, printed out the receipt, said, follow me, took us out to the bus. We got on the bus. So we were on, after clearing customs, and we had our bags, we probably left within 5 minutes. Real quick.
It was quick. They were moving us. We were like, okay.
So we get on the bus, and it was about 20-30 minutes to get to the Cancun bus station. The Audio. So we get there. There was some confusion going on. They were trying to put us on an earlier bus. We had a schedule for a 2:30 bus, which is fine with us. They were trying to put us on a 2 o'clock bus because there's several buses leaving throughout the day for different destinations, and Merida is one of those. So anyway, we were scheduled for a 2:30 bus. We sat in the terminal, which doesn't have any AC.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're coming in the hot months, you will be hot. You will sweat. There is a bathroom there. You have to pay 6 pesos to use it. And it was okay.
You're still going to wonder why you paid 6 pesos. Y'all,
it was fine. I've seen much, much worse in
Me
Cambodia
too.
and Vietnam. And the reason why they charge is to keep it as decent as it is. I was fine with it.
Just pray before you go in, that's all.
No. But the tip that we would give for you is a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
You bought the SIM card, so where did you buy the SIM card?
Right. So right outside of the bus station, it's just like your average bus station. This be like in the center of town. So there's like stores around it. So if you walk out the doors, there was a line of like basically convenience stores and looked like maybe a little liquor store, something like that. Anyway, so I went into one of the convenience stores, the local convenience store, and they had SIM cards. So I just went to the counter and bought one. But yeah, and it literally is like the SIM card, and you put it in yourself, and that's it. Like there's no, all the extra stuff they do for you.
Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy.
It's ready to go.
Yeah, it was ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
So we got some snacks. They did have a little. They had a couple of restaurants in there, Subway, some little sandwich shop, and just like a little chip store. So the boy got his what are those things? Takis.
Yeah, he had been waiting on them Takis all year.
Right, year and a half. So because they don't have them over in Southeast Asia, so he got his Takis. He's happy. It was worth the flight, I'm sure, for him just to get the Takis, if nothing else. Got some water. Bus came at 2:30. We lined up with the masses because almost every seat was taken.
Yeah.
Sanitation. I don't know. It's a bus, right?
I mean, it wasn't a dirty bus.
It wasn't a dirty bus, but it was a
bus. It just wasn't a luxury bus. It's not that.
Typically, there are different tiers that you can purchase with Audio. I don't know why I can't say that. Anyway, there's different tiers. With COVID going on, there's only one tier and it's a flat rate. But there's different prices depending on what time you fly. What time you ride. So if you're in the early AM, the routes are cheaper. And since we're in the afternoon, that's actually the most expensive ones, afternoon to evening. Because it was a 4-hour trip. Yeah. If we got in there at 9 o'clock that morning, our prices would have been, I think, 100 pesos cheaper.
Wow.
So, see what time your flight's going to come in. That's going to determine. We didn't pre-reserve our seats. Maybe I would in the future, just so I wouldn't be sitting by the toilet, because there is a toilet on the bus, and I just kept worrying that I was going to be bombarded by a smell. And since I was already tired, that stressed me out for 4 hours, because people came to use that toilet. They did. And I don't know if they can wash their hands or not. Because I didn't look inside. But it was a toilet on the bus. And if you've ridden the Megabus or Greyhound, very similar.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit better.
No Wi-Fi.
No Wi-Fi.
And we thought there would be Wi-Fi, and there wasn't. Why you would have any bus ride that is longer than an hour that doesn't have Wi-Fi on it is beyond me.
Right. Yeah. So that was an issue.
So come either with your SIM card ready for Mexico, or come ready to read or sleep.
And Amber had gotten a SIM card, but she got a cheap one.
Yeah.
And so when we got on the bus and realized there was no Wi-Fi, we did a hotspot, and within 10 minutes that was gone.
Burned it.
Gone. So yeah, we went to sleep. They do have movies that they play in Spanish, very loudly, I may add. And then you don't get an individual screen. It's, staggered. Every 4 or 5 seats there's a screen. I mean, after a little while you got into the movie, whether you understood it or not. It was visual.
We met someone nice on the bus. It was a nice young man. Mm-hmm. I hope things are going well for you.
Yeah. And so the only thing I would suggest if you're going to do the 8-hour bus is probably pre-purchase your seat so you're not in the back. Make sure that you're arriving early if you want a cheaper route. A cheaper ticket. There is no AC. Get your SIM card when you arrive there. Get some snacks because they're not going to serve you anything. The bus goes quick. It's 4 hours, and I swear he was doing 100 the entire way. Through some backwoods and some bumps, and we were swerving. It was a little scary.
I thought I had been in some bad traffic in Vietnam, but honey,
we wasn't in traffic.
Not even the traffic.
Right, dude, this was just a zoom. Yeah. Brakes was not an option, obviously. So we was pedal to the metal. So we got there though.
Yep.
4 hours. We get to the bus station, and they drop you off at one central point, Merida Historic Center or something like that, which is a nice bus station. It's just number of seats, not much else going on. So we called an Uber. Yes. And this is where we had the problem.
Yes.
So there's a lot of bags, because of course we just came from overseas and we brought our whole life with us. And we got this Uber. The cars are really small, and they don't give you options here for bigger cars, which they do with Grab in Southeast Asia. And I miss you, Grab. I complained about you, but I didn't realize how good you were. But Uber here just doesn't.
It's just Uber X, whatever that is. And there's no upgrade to a larger size. We didn't have any of those options. So if you're coming in and you have bags,
you may need 2 cars.
Yeah, or pre-reserve.
You can do a rental car. I wouldn't do a rental car coming in if you don't know where you're going and you don't have you didn't get a SIM card with internet. Because even T-Mobile, which does international plans, that stuff is slow. So just be careful. Mm-hmm. But so we got an Uber. Small car pulls up. We got the bags in there. We got a bag in our lap. He's laughing a little bit, but we're okay. We're on the road. And where we're living at is in the northwestern part of the city. Where we came from was down south. And so we're riding, and it's dark, and we're a little hungry, a little disoriented, a little tired.
A little hungry.
Yeah, a little hungry. And just, over it. At this point, it's been 2 days of travel. And so he pulls up, and he says, here's the destination. We get out. I'm looking. I'm trying to get hold of the person we were at the home from to get access to get inside. There's somebody supposed to be there, wasn't there. And it may be because we were at the wrong place.
Yep.
He dropped us off and took off. Knew it was the wrong place.
Well, and it was the address. So we had the address, but it was a difference between the streets are. It's just the addresses are different everywhere you go, every country you go. So you just have to be check, double check, extra check. So it's the difference between 2 numbers. You know what I mean? It's this is the calle, whatever, and then the number of your house. And the number of the house is the one that we got wrong.
Right.
And he should have known that a little bit better than us probably. He just kind of dropped us off on calle, whatever the street is, instead of knowing what the house number was. So he just kind of dropped us off on a corner. Basically.
No, he took us to where he wanted to drop us off at. I was looking at his phone. I was like, the map says we should still be driving. But he was like, this is it. Of course, I don't speak Spanish. And it's on the right, Calle 40. But the house number was wrong. And I kept going. And then she was showing him on the phone, this is the address. And he was like, no, this is it.
Right.
And we're calling. We did get enough service to call the homeowner, who basically was like, I just opened the gate. Did you get in? And we're like, no. And then he's like, so we finally figured, we tell him where we're at. He's like, no, you're nowhere near here. Basically. So, with 2 bags each, we walk down the street. Because there's basically a 7-Eleven on the corner.
Fortunately.
Very fortunate.
Oxco.
Yeah, anyway, 7-Eleven. And we get in there, Amber buys another SIM card up, so we got some consistent service. And we call Uber again. Guy picks us up 10 minutes later, via car, mind you. 10, 15 minutes later, we're at the home. And we're in. And we're exhausted. And we are here, in Merida. So many things we could have done differently, but not many.
Yeah.
Snacks. Bring you some snacks, because especially if you're doing a long international flight, some snacks.
Oh, and also, so liquid. You can't carry more than 3.4 ounces on a plane, and we all know that. And I had done that. I had bottles that were smaller than 3.4 ounces, but I had quite a few of them in my bag. So it flagged when I went through a couple of times. And so they were just like, what is this? And I'm like, those are oils. And they're like, okay. And so, but still, I had to stop. I had to go through my bag and all that. So just, if you can avoid it, then just avoid it, because it's going to slow you down. And if you're rushing for a flight, then you can't afford to be slowed down like that.
Right. Electronics. My electronic bag got flagged every time, but it actually wasn't because of electronics. It was because I had coins in there. I have a coin bag with all the coins that I've accumulated on my travels. I just haven't had a chance to convert over, so that kept getting flagged. The boys' bag got flagged. They had some deodorant in there. I mean, some soap.
Oh, this shower gel.
They took that, and it was interesting because at each point, each airport was different things. It was nothing consistent. So that was interesting. But we made it through.
Yeah.
Like I said, snacks. I'm going to keep saying snacks because food sucked. I mean, we ain't had nothing to eat. Just some cold stuff. And Babes didn't have anything because there was nothing vegan, vegetarian being offered on the trip.
Yeah, so if you're a veggie, just bring your own.
Bring some hummus, what else would you say? The ADO bus, if you can pre-purchase it, do so. Factor in that 4-hour trip. Have a ride, schedule if you can, or somebody, if you know someone here, pick you up at the bus terminal. Try to get in the daytime instead of at night. Woo. I think that really that added to our confusion.
Yes.
And just the overall, what are we doing here? Because we were tired too. You know, and then it was gray, it was wet. So it wasn't welcoming and everything like that. So, but still, we're here.
Yeah, and we love where we are.
Yeah, we love the home.
You can see it in the video.
Yeah, check that other video out. Our Airbnb. Today we went house hunting. That video is coming soon.
Yep.
Whew. But we like Merida.
Yeah.
We are here.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
yeah, it was a good choice.
Yeah, it's good for us and our family. Yeah. I'm eating, y'all.
Ooh, yeah.
Taco Tuesday.
Tortas chilaquiles.
We are here. Anyway, so we are here in Merida, and we're going to show you Merida. In the next few upcoming videos, talk to you a little bit more about some travel things and things that we thought about as we were traveling as well. And yeah, stick with us. See you in the next video.
Subscribe.
Like, share, comment, do all those things. I am Kat.
And I'm Amber.
And we are
Wandering Soup, y'all.
See you in the next video. Peace and love.